What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Monday night's late night agenda. Pleasure to be with you guys as always. Appreciate you giving up some of your evening to come and have a chat with me. Plenty to go through tonight. We're going to be looking ahead to the winter transfer market. We're going to be giving you an update on the availability of players, of course, for the West Ham game. I did record the preview a little bit earlier on today, so that West Ham preview I think is coming out at lunchtime tomorrow, so do keep an eye out for that one. Want to know your thoughts? How strong do you want Jurgen Klopp to go with his team selection ahead of this game against West Ham? Me personally, I'd like us to go fairly strong. It's a chance to win a trophy. If we win this game against West Ham, we're into the semi-finals. And you only start off the old campaign with 4 trophies to win. So the fact we've gone this deep into the competition, I want us to take it seriously. We'll give you an update on Nat Phillips and his return from Celtic, as well as a few other bits and pieces, some of which we covered earlier on, some of which we haven't. So yeah, as always, first 5-10 minutes we'll just spend chit-chatting, waiting for the stream to fill up, and then we'll get stuck into the news. So anything you're going to get off your chest, please do. I know a lot of people have a lot of frustration towards me from yesterday, and I get that as well, and that's why I'm here today. You know, I'm here to answer anything that you guys want to throw my way, or any topics that you want to raise. BM Minty Boy said Trent has been our best player. I would say Alisson has been our best player, personally, just my opinion. Trent's been very good, and I would like to see Trent given that run in midfield, mate. I would. I'd like to see him. I thought maybe we'd see it against United yesterday, and yeah, I think maybe against West Ham could be a good opportunity to give Trent that run in the middle. How am I? It's been a mixed 24 hours, the Red Baron. Some stuff you don't want to see, some stuff I understand, but ultimately, it's just been frustrating for all of us, right? It wasn't the result we wanted yesterday. But we get a chance to put that right on Wednesday, and then we get another chance to put that right on Saturday, and it's a big week ahead for us, and I'm excited, nervous, unsure of which Liverpool to expect, but ultimately happy that we're in the position we're in. In the grand scheme of things, pushing aside the frustrations from yesterday, I'm happy we're in the position we're in. Davino, nice to see you, my man. Hey Craig, how are we? Called out of work to spend the day with my girlfriend. I don't know where to go with the having sex for the first time last night. 24 years old, better late than never. Have your account been hacked, dude? Because this is very unlike you. But either way, look, you had a good day, and that's all that matters, buddy. So yeah, enjoy. But definitely made me smile to start off the stream, my man. So yeah. Oh, I don't know what to go. I don't know what to say with that, dude. But I tell you what, you're not doing. You're not helping the old online virgin kind of conversation. As long as you're happy, man, that's all that matters to me. Yeah, it is a mad super chat, mate. Definitely, Kep. It's one of the most unlikely super chats I think I'll read out for quite a while. Took her frustration out on her. Yeah, she walking like John Wayne today. Oh, that's too much, Craig. That's too much. Too much. Right, I'm going to read out this one. Said, I agree with the Salah statement, same with selling him. It's the truth. Been saying he's non-threatening for weeks. Same with Lucho. Need wingers who run at players like Gravenberch has done. So, look, I agree that Salah hasn't been as attack-minded as we would like him to be. My frustration yesterday in saying sell him, as I said earlier on, I sort of mean it and I sort of don't mean it. I mean it from the point of view I think that's what's going to happen in the summer. But like I've always said, my preference was to give him a new deal. But I can't lie and say I'm not disappointed in the performances I've seen from himself or Diaz or Darwin, as the case may be. But I want to draw your attention to something that Klopp said. And I kind of feel like if I said this, I'd be absolutely slaughtered for it. And I want to get your take on it. So there was a piece on Sky that I read, and Jurgen Klopp was being quoted from his post-match interview. And he said, we were more dominant yesterday against Manchester United than we were in the 7-0 victory. Now, what am I supposed to do with that? Obviously, I'm going to say that is stupidity. And I very much disagree with our manager on it. I probably understand maybe where he's trying to go with it. You could talk about ball possession and you could talk about, I don't know, passes completed or something. But statistically, putting the ball in the back of the net 7 times is far more dominant to me than anything else. So I don't know what the fuck he's on about. I don't. It's delusional. And I don't know how else to say it. There is this mad thing in the world at the minute where people want to present an alternative reality to what we're seeing. And I watch football for 40 odd years. Well, 37, 38 years. There's no way I'm going to believe that anybody looks at that game yesterday, including our manager, and thinks we were more dominant than last year when we beat them 7-0. It's just simply... It's a very strange statement to come out with. And I had to draw your attention to it because I wanted to see if I've missed something. Like if this is just mind games or... I don't know. I feel like I've either missed something really big here or Jurgen's lost the plot with what he said. Dominant, pass to Alisson, pass to VVD, pass to Kanade and repeat, said Suwon. So that was really frustrating yesterday. It was a lot of that. So we played the game in front of Manchester United yesterday. And when we're playing a team like, okay, let me say this. When we play Arsenal on Saturday, when you see Virgil van Dijk taking his time, telling a player to move here and somebody else to move over there, I'll understand that far more because I understand that the game is going to be that tight that these small moments or movements of players into the right positions to set up an attack, I get it. But we played a team yesterday who had no intent to do anything. And when we play the game in front of them like we did, I just feel like we played into their hands. We didn't move the ball quickly. We didn't create overloads. We didn't attack the wide areas sufficiently for my liking. So, yeah, confused. Still confused as to how yesterday came about, to be honest with you. It's... It feels like a result that we've seen before. And it hurts because it doesn't set us up for this big week. You know, we had Manchester United, we've got West Ham, we've got Arsenal. And part one of that ended in frustration. But we've got a chance to put it right on Wednesday. And I think if we can get a victory on Wednesday against West Ham, get ourselves into the semi-final of the League Cup, and hopefully a bit of confidence building up to the game of the weekend against Arsenal, which is... It's going to be a far more testing game for us than Manchester United yesterday. And absolutely, if we beat Arsenal on Saturday, it banishes the frustration of Manchester United yesterday. But it also, you know, it's important to point out that you've got to go into these games with winning. You've got to go into these games with confidence. And Arsenal this weekend did their job. Aston Villa did their job. So if we can turn it around on Saturday and we beat Arsenal... Brilliant. Puts us in a great position. And I think it'll banish the memories of yesterday. But right now, I still feel very frustrated at yesterday's performance because we knew what United were going to come and do. We all knew. Klopp knew, we knew, you knew. We all knew. And it looked like we just never had an actual plan in place to deal with what was going to be coming our way, which is a low block, packing the box and saying to Liverpool, figure it out. And how long has it been now under Jurgen Klopp where we've had these conversations about low block teams, and it doesn't matter which front line we have on, whether it was Bobby, Mane, Salah, whether it's Salah, Darwin, Lucho, we always seem to be frustrated by this particular setup of opposition. And in these games, it's more important than ever that you find a breakthrough early, because it then throws their whole plan out the window. You go at them 100 miles an hour from the start, get the early breakthrough, and then the onus is on them, because they've got to suddenly come and get something from the game. And the longer it goes on, like it did yesterday, where we didn't score, our frustration creeps up. The atmosphere inside Anfield changes. And by the way, I want to talk about the atmosphere inside Anfield a little bit later on as well. I want to kind of just touch on Gary Neville's statement about it being the worst atmosphere that he remembers in a Liverpool United fixture. So I want to talk about that a little bit as well. Nessie said, thoughts on the Anfield atmosphere these days? Do you know what, actually, Nessie, since you put a super chat in, mate, I might as well get straight into it. So, look, I don't have any divine right to say what's causing the poor atmosphere inside Anfield. I simply do not know. But what I don't like to see is a revert to type. So what we always see is atmosphere bad, day trippers' fault. Atmosphere bad, tourists' fault. Atmosphere bad, everybody else's fault. But here's the thing. I want to pose this as a genuine question. So, how many tickets are season tickets at Anfield? I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I would imagine it's 60% there or thereabouts. And of those other tickets, how many of those tickets are being sold by locals to tourists at a markup? So I get that people want the hardcore fans inside the stadium all the time, and I appreciate that. And as I said, I'm not here to say what's causing the atmosphere to be poor and what isn't. But what I am saying is, I find it a bit lazy and a bit frustrating that it always gets aimed at us, the overseas or tourist fans. There are far more reasons for why the atmosphere may or may not be good at a particular game, at a particular day, and they're not always simply down to the lazy old everybody else's fault. It's a multitude of reasons, and as I said, I'm not qualified, or it's not fair on me to say what it is, but I do feel like I have to defend the majority of my community, which are fans that aren't local to the city of Liverpool, that may get there a couple of times in their life, that may get there a couple of times a season. But I don't know of a lack of passion from any of these people that I know. So who are the tourists that are apparently making it have no atmosphere, and how can such a small percentage of who's going to the stadium impact in such a negative way according to certain people? I don't feel it's fair. I feel like there's a whole host of reasons. Some of them the games. You know, it's hard to get atmosphere continuously built up. It's a natural thing. Particularly in England. What we see oftentimes in Europe or South America is you'll see a drum beat or a rhythm or a constant singing, and, you know, it's the same tempo. In England, and particularly with Liverpool, I find the audience and the supporters are reactive to moments on the pitch. So whether it's a crunching tackle, whether it's an opposition player having a pop at Klopp or a linesman, it gets emotion out of the crowd. And it's hard sometimes to fake that emotion. And that's the best thing I can say about it all, is there's a responsibility on everybody. The fans, the players, but you can't fake an atmosphere. There has to be a reason for the atmosphere. And yes, yesterday was a huge game, and I'm sure the atmosphere before the game was pretty cool, pretty good, pretty loud. But when you're not seeing it on the pitch, it's difficult to remain constantly positive and feed that energy out onto the pitch, because it's not the bear pit atmosphere. It's not that hostile environment that you want to create in these moments. So I just wish people would have a more rounded conversation rather than just pointing the finger all the time, because I feel it's unfair. Rachel said we're still raw after yesterday's match. The atmosphere died because our performance killed it, said Jamie J. A guy in another fan channel today saying he was there and he will stand and sing if required. I don't know where to go with that comment, mate. Look, I believe football atmosphere is a living, breathing thing. And yes, Liverpool go down in folklore for some of the big nights, but you can't do it all the time. I don't think it's possible for it to happen all the time. And as many of you have pointed out in the chat, it is a two-way street, right? It's got to be the audience, the viewers, the spectators reacting to what's happening on the pitch, whether that's feeling hard done by a decision, whether it's a crunch and tackle, a goal, a close shot, whatever it might be. It's a natural thing. And yesterday, there was not many moments to create that natural, intimidating atmosphere. That's just my take. TOTT2KZ1 said, I don't want to make any excuses for the team, but if we said at the start of the season we'd be second in the Prem, quarters of the League Cup, through to the knockout stages of the Europa League, we would have taken it. 100%. And I won't push back against that at all, mate. Absolutely. If you said to me at Christmas time Liverpool would be first or second within 3 points of the top of the table and through safely in the Europa League, into the quarterfinals of the League Cup, absolutely I'd have taken it. 100%. But we also have to have to understand that we respond to things in real time. So expectations change as we go along. Like, our new rebuild has, I want to say gelled, but has gotten results better than maybe we expected. So expectations, I think, increase the better the results are. But we haven't been playing well. You know, we've gotten results not playing well, and that's cool. I'm not against getting results not playing well. But I felt like we missed that opportunity yesterday to really just make a statement. And that's what frustrated me personally. But you are right, mate. Could not push back against that. If you asked any of us if we'd be in that position, we'd take it. I think we would. Did you guys see as well that the boys, the Prime boys, the KSIs and the Logan Paul signed up Patrick Mahomes to be a Prime athlete, which is pretty cool. Well done to them. Thoughts on Gravenberch pulling his hamstring? It could be a huge loss for us, mate. A huge loss for us. I think Ryan Gravenberch's been very, very, very good since he's come into the club. And what frustrated me about that situation yesterday is, I don't know if it could have been prevented, but I certainly do feel like we should have made substitutions earlier. Now, I don't know if Ryan would have been one of those substitutions in all fairness, but yeah, I felt like yesterday Klopp was more reactionary than proactive, and it just frustrated me. And when I see him come out with that comment about it being a more dominant performance than the 7-0, I don't know who he thinks who's he preaching to, because I don't get it. I don't understand that comment. It was in no way better than last season. Right, so transfer talk time. So we'll start off, if you don't mind, with a couple of bits and pieces on players who could be coming back to Liverpool. And we'll start off with an article in the Mirror about Fabio Carvalho. They say that yes, Liverpool are looking to explore the possibility of ending Fabio Carvalho's loan spell with Leipzig and bringing him back to England. But it's not so we can play at Liverpool, because we loaned him out for a reason. So they say that they think London and Fulham in particular could be an option for Carvalho if he comes back. Now, I guess I want to ask you guys, do you think this is likely to be a loan with an option to buy? Or do you think Liverpool would look to sell immediately in the January market? So if he does come back in, if Liverpool can strike that deal with Leipzig, I don't think a move to Fulham would be a bad thing for Carvalho. But I just want to be interested to see where you guys think it will be a loan deal, or do you think it should be a permanent one? I think, and also if you do think it's a permanent one, what price do you think? I was thinking about this earlier on, and I was thinking 12 to 15 million for Carvalho if Liverpool were to sell him. I don't know if that's being a bit optimistic or if I'm undervaluing him, but I think 12 to 15 million sounds about okay to me in my head anyway. Sell him, said Cabbage Turnips. Loan him, said their Wizzy Lover. Sergu said Carvalho has no place at Liverpool, just sell him. Why do we buy him? It's a good question, Paul. It is. It's one of the weirdest transfers since Klopp's come to the club, because you're right, we bought him and I didn't see the plan for him. He's a very good young player. I do think there's a player in there. But yeah, it never felt like we had a plan for him. Maybe it was just an opportunistic deal where Liverpool thought that they could make a few quid on him over the course of a few seasons. I don't know, but for a club that tries to be clever with our money, it does feel like this was a strange decision. Could swap him plus some cash for Polina. I'm not hating that idea, dude. I'm not hating that idea. And to link that in, actually, to link in what you're saying to Polina and to Fulham, and I guess to Andre as well. An article today, news from TalkSport, that they believe that Manchester City are now also one of the admirers for Polina. So you've got Liverpool, Manchester City and Arsenal, according to TalkSport, all looking at João Polina as an option in the January market. But for João Polina to be an option, Fulham have to find a replacement. And I read an article earlier on that was speaking about the Andre Trinidad situation, and the article said that nobody has yet met the £30 million valuation that Fluminense have on the player. Now, tonight Fluminense qualified for the final of the Club World Cup by beating, I think it was Al Ahly, if I'm not mistaken, by 2-0. and they will take on the winner of Manchester City and is it the Urawa Reds, I think it is, of Japan, who are playing in the other semi-final tomorrow. So that is a strange one because we know Fulham flew over to Fluminense to have negotiations, but this piece goes on to say that as of yet nobody has triggered or gotten to the £30 million valuation that Fluminense have. And they even went as far as to say that Fluminense are open to the idea of holding on to him until the summer market and selling him then, because that could be more palatable to European clubs, which I guess is their right. He's their player. But it's an interesting one because for Palhinha to go somewhere, Fulham have to get somebody. And as of yet, if they can't agree a fee for Andre, that could put the kibosh on the whole João Palhinha move. And also, I don't know if we can take from this that Liverpool are still interested in Palhinha or not. I really don't know at this point. I do have something on Liverpool's transfer business though for the January window that Connor sent me. I want to just read out to you guys. So it says Liverpool's plans for the winter transfer window are believed to be contingent on the European progress of clubs whose players they're targeting, with a greater likelihood of getting a better deal for those sides who have been dropped out of the Champions League. Liverpool have kept an eye on the Portuguese market and are assessing a number of options from that country in addition to Gonçalo Inácio of Sporting Lisbon. This is the part that worries me a bit. The Reds don't have any concrete targets in mind, but will keep their eyes peeled in case of a cheap or short-term deal becoming available, although midfield signings are deemed unlikely. So, what do you make from that? Like, we're active apparently, but we're active for bargains. That doesn't fill me or inspire me with confidence. What I like to hear is Liverpool know that they have a deficiency or two in their squad and they'd like to address that in this window. Not the sniffing around bargain basement looking for cheap deals for clubs that may have got knocked out of the Champions League. It's not the most inspiring piece of news. But look, at least I guess there's some positives in it. We're in the market. Do you think there is a chance no number 6 comes in? Oh, very much so, yes. I've always thought we might see one player in January. Who was that asked that question? Sean. But there's a fair few things written to say that we're not looking at anything in midfield, which doesn't really link into the we're eyeing up Palhinha, does it? So, truth is, at this moment in time, I don't really know what way the wind's blowing with regards to transfer business in January. I know what I think we need. I'm sure you guys have your opinion on what you think Liverpool need as well. I hate the word cheap because it reminds me of Arthur Mello. I hate the word cheap and bargain because it doesn't tick the box I want ticked. So let me give you an example. If Manchester City have a deficiency in their squad, or Arsenal have a deficiency in their squad, it seems to be that the mindset is, let's go find the best player to fill this spot in our squad that we can afford. And that makes sense. For us, we've had this with a midfielder in seasons past, we've had it with a centre-back, and now we have it in a couple of positions. Obviously, we've been lucky with the Joel Matip injury, and we all still feel like we need number 6. So, it doesn't inspire me with confidence that we're willing to roll the dice again. We should have a concrete plan, and we should be looking to be ambitious and push to want to win the league. That's my take on it. It feels like we're conceding that we might not last the title race if we don't act accordingly and go out and just get the best fit for the position. Like, totally understand that we don't have to go and spend 150 million in January. Fair enough. But there are centre-backs out there that could help us out. There are defensive midfielders out there that could help us out. And all for probably less than 50 million quid. Now, if you have to pay a few extra million quid, maybe even 15% extra for a player to get them in January versus at the end of the season, well, if it helps you in the here and now, surely that's the right thing to do. So someone's saying Florian Plettenberg just tweeted we don't want Polina. It's funny because he said oh no, it wasn't him, sorry. It was Christian Falk that said the opposite the other day. Sorry, I was about to criticise somebody when I was wrong. Yeah, so, well, you've got contrasting opinions there, both coming out of Germany. You've got Florian Plettenberg to say Liverpool aren't interested in Polina, versus Christian Falk to say Bayern are aware that Liverpool are very much interested in Polina. So, yeah, don't know which way to go with that one. Probably leaning to the we're not looking for a midfielder signing. Because if you take that, the article I just read out to you, they both kind of intimate the same thing, that midfield isn't an option for us. Where's the Caicedo money gone? See, this is the thing, Cop Man, that pisses me off. And I'm sorry, I can't think of a better phrase than that. That's how I feel. You're right. There was £115 million available. Now, I'm aware we bought Gravenberch, and I'm aware that we bought Endo. But that was still only about half of that money. So I don't understand how it always has to be the cheap option here. Well, I know why, because John's a cheapskate, and that's my honest answer. And I know that people have warmed a bit to FSG because results have been going well, but ultimately, I want to see ambition. That's it. I want to see ambition. Clock's ticking on Jurgen Klopp's time at the club. He's only got a couple of seasons to go before his contract's up. I mean, I'm not wishing Klopp away, far from it. But I don't like this. Well, let's see how we get on bullshit. No, I want us to go and win it. I want us to be proactive. And it feels like, just like yesterday in that game against United, our transfer business is being reactionary rather than methodical. So, again, this is the actual tweet coming in. It said, understand that Liverpool is definitely not in the race for João Polina. He's not a transfer target in the winter. Crucial days for him now, as many other top clubs want him in January. Talks ongoing. FC Bayern still want to sign a new number 6. However, internally, he's considered too expensive. So, that was the tweet from Florian Plettenberg. Now, there's a couple of sentences in there that worry me again. Other top clubs are interested in him. And yet we're what? Rolling the dice? Like, whatever we say, 2 players are out of contract next summer. Thiago and Matip. Matip's out for the season, and Thiago still hasn't got back to playing yet, although he's getting closer. So, we should be planning for those 2 areas, in my opinion, anyway. And right now, seems as good a time as any to go out there and get a centre-back. So, the whole thing confuses me, and I get sick of talking about lack of ambition, but it feels like we have a lack of ambition. How many times do we have to roll the dice in the winter with cheap signings or sticking plasters before we realise it isn't the answer? It wasn't the answer with Arthur Melo, it wasn't the answer with Ben Davies, Ozan Kabak, and it won't be the answer now if we do the same thing again. You know, we're going up against a team in Arsenal who've got one down there and brought in Declan Rice, who are looking to bring in a centre forward, who have done what I said at the start of this stream, which is go out there and target specific areas and bring in the best you can get. So why aren't we doing it? Polina's too old for what Liverpool are looking for. Fair enough. But that's just one player, mate. Polina might be too old. Andre isn't. So how do we get from the situation where in the summer we wanted Andre, and then when he becomes available once again it's like, well, no, we've no interest. It feels weird. Just seems they are happy with top 4, said Jack. And also, they're being very active elsewhere, Jack. So this week we've seen that the PGA have come to an agreement with a group of investors from the States, including FSG, for investment into the PGA Tour. We've also got the news that they're probably going to be involved in the NBA franchise that come towards Vegas. And at what point, you know, I think we as Liverpool fans have every right to say, when the fuck do we act like a big club? When do we go out there and make these statements like, I want to win the league? I know you guys want to win the league. Does this feel like giving ourselves the best chance to do it? Like, none of us want the club to be in financial hardship. None of us want us to overspend. But we're nowhere near any FFP issues. None. The Premier League and Europe want clubs to spend no more than 70% of their income on wages. And we're at about 60, last time I checked, about 62, 63. So we've got lots of wiggle room there. So that's not the issue. And if you've seen Todd Bowley spending a load of money, granted not all well, but spending it. You see Arsenal bringing in a £100+ million midfielder. You see Chelsea bringing in two £100+ million midfielders. You see Manchester City bringing in the Haalands of this world. How can we compete with that if we don't go for the best we can afford? It just feels counterproductive. And there's only so many gems that Jurgen's going to be able to unearth, so many rough diamonds he's going to be able to polish. These things take time. The title race is here and now. I want us to win it. Cahill said, owners crying Portsmouth again. Same BS every window. Yeah, I know. But if I become critical, mate, I get slaughtered. So I'm almost afraid to be myself on streams lately because the knives are out. And if I say anything, if I'm me, if I'm honest, if I'm sincere, I get slaughtered for it. I get called a fake fan. I get called an asshole. But my opinion is that John W. Henry is a cheap fuck. That's my genuine opinion. And I think Jurgen's part of this problem as well, because he's too accepting of it all. And at the end of the day, it's his legacy, his time at Liverpool. And I want Jurgen to look back and have as many trophies as we could have possibly given him in his reign. And I don't feel like we're giving him the best opportunity to do that. But he doesn't help when he comes out with some of the nonsense that he comes out with. Tell me a midfielder that could improve our midfield. I can tell you 20. Tell me a club who wants to sell a top centre half in January. Well, nobody does, Jurgen, but that's why the bigger clubs are the bigger clubs. Because they come in and say, want to come play for Liverpool? And the player goes, yeah. And then we go to the selling club, well, okay, we've give you a little bit more because it's January, so be it. But that's one of the pros of being one of the big boys, is you get to throw your fucking weight around. And I don't see Liverpool throwing their weight around enough. I think we all believe John W. Henry's cheapskate, said Zinedine. Yeah, fair, mate, fair. I just struggle to comprehend not doing our best to win everything. And I get that Jurgen will say he's got the players he's got and he's happy to coach them. I get that. I understand that. But these players only have one career. And they want to win stuff. And if we want to be an attractive destination and we want to continue to attract both the best young players who are looking for their future in their career and looking for a pathway, and the best players that are doing the rounds now, you got to keep winning. They want to come to a club winning silverware. They want to know that their ambitions and their dreams can be met at Liverpool Football Club. And we as fans don't give a shit if we finish second, third or fourth. It's all the same to us. It's win the league or Champions League. There is no other things. And I want to win the league. I want to win the league. I want Jurgen Klopp and those players to have that moment of celebrating with the fans that they were unfortunate not to have during the COVID league win. And I don't feel like the owners are giving them the best chance. And sometimes I feel like, as much as I understand Jurgen as a difficult tightrope to walk, I just wish he'd push back against them a little bit, because he'd have the full support of the fan base. Because we all see what others are doing, and we all see that we seem to be lagging a little bit behind, and it's frustrating because at the end of this season, 2 years left of Jurgen, and if we don't win the league title this year, it'll feel like a missed opportunity to me. And I'm not arrogant enough to think we're just going to walk to a league title, but the opportunity has presented itself this year. The inconsistency of Manchester City, the competitive nature of the league, you've got Villa, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, and then Newcastle coming back up. They're all taking points off each other. So somebody has to grab it by the scruff of the neck. Why not us? Mark said, Craig, I agree 100% with you. FSG are definitely not serious about Liverpool being serial winners. I think that's a fair statement. Like, I get it. As long as the Champions League money keeps ticking in. But that's a risky game to play, as we found out last year. You can't just keep relying on thirds, fourths, getting yourself into the Champions League. It's great and all, don't get me wrong. We all love Champions League football. But sooner or later you get caught out playing that game. And we got caught out last year. And also, for the people trying to defend our forwards and having a pop at me yesterday and calling me everything under the sun, I've got a stat to push back for you. So, to all those people who are trying to tell me how great we all are, hang on, I'm just getting my notes open here. Where is it? Yeah. So I'm going to credit Ryan from our Discord group with this one. Since coming back from the international break in November, Liverpool's forwards have scored a combined 5 goals in 7 league games. 4 of those came against Las Clins. So if you take away that game, our forwards have scored 1 goal in 6 matches between them. So are we not right to be asking questions about the forward line? Are we not right to be saying, why aren't we seeing the performances from Mohamed Salah or Darwin Núñez or Lucho or Gakpo? I feel we are. I feel like that's a pretty damning stat. And look, there's the argument to say, like I say, is I don't care who wins or who scores. I don't care who scores the goals. I don't give a shit. But when results aren't coming our way, then you've got to ask why. And then naturally, for me, you point the fingers at those who aren't doing it. But it seems like sometimes I go over the top in how I present my case and people push back. But ultimately, a lot of these guys are not passing the eye test. They just aren't. And we can all invent a statistic to show that somebody's doing well. Fuck, look at Eric Ten Hag and Andre Onana. You can find a statistic to show that somebody is in the top percentile of something. But I also have my own eyes, and you guys do, and I can see that yesterday we were firing blanks. We miss Jota, said Laser Sharp. 100% agree. That yesterday, and I've said this a few times, mate, but yesterday felt like a day Diogo might have been a difference maker. Yeah, it felt like a very Diogo-friendly game. Watching Núñez makes me realise how special Bobby and Sadio were. So yesterday was my giving up moment for the whole Darwin thing. And that could be on me. So let me explain why I was so disappointed with Darwin Núñez in particular yesterday. I had built it up in my head all week that Darwin would know that Liverpool fans are frustrated with him and that he hadn't been delivering. And that he hadn't scored in something like 10 games. So, and I'm guilty of this because I built it up in my head. But I was expecting Darwin to put in a performance yesterday that shut me and everybody else up. That showed us that he gets it. But what we got was another petulant display of somebody not focused and concentrating on where they are on the pitch. And I just gave up. I couldn't be bothered defending it anymore. Because how can I defend a centre forward that hasn't scored in 10 games? That's getting caught offside 3 times. That's picking up silly yellows, nearly getting himself sent off again. It gets hard. And I don't have a middle ground. I either am someone's brilliant or the world's ended. That's just the way I'm wired. So yeah, I take my licks when they come my way. But when do the players and the manager get to be criticised? Because I'm never going to be a happy clapper fan that sits here and thinks everything's wonderful and everything smells of roses. Bullshit. That display was pathetic yesterday. And we are better. We're capable of better. So the questions have to be asked, why aren't we hitting those levels? What's going on? Like, we've salvaged games at the death recently, and that's cool. We all enjoy it. But yesterday was just so bad. Like, so bad. It just drove me round the twist. Jason, how are you, mate? Jason Morris said, I'd love to see us try use Gakpo and his ball control, close control. He's brilliant. He's phenomenally good at it, Jason. And I love watching Gakpo break lines, mate. I personally think Cody Gakpo's in his best for us behind the front three. But if you don't have a front three that's firing, I guess you've got to push him a bit further forward. But I think what you've said there, himself and Ryan Gravenberch are our two best players at doing that. I think they're both phenomenally good at, as you said, close control and just coming out of sticky situations with the ball. Gakpo needs to be the main striker. Nunes is just a bigger version of Milan Barros. Head down, greedy, and has to put his foot through every ball. Also, right Thiago off so Trent can move. So, I don't disagree with a lot of what you've said. Particularly about the Trent stuff. I don't understand why we're planning for Thiago. It's a risky game. How can you pin the second half of your campaign on somebody who we know will probably play 5 or 6 games and then miss 3 or 4? What we should do is go into the market for the answer. And yeah, again, I'm all for giving Bajcetic a chance, but he's not available. And the season's happening right now. So whatever about the future, we got to win now as well. So it's got to be a mixture of both. CD Sava said, I've been saying this, Craig. We haven't been good since Brentford, more than a month. Yeah, but we've been winning. And while you're winning, everything's good. Everything's okay. If you're winning, the deficiencies don't matter. But when it is laid bare in front of you and it doesn't go the right way and you don't grind out a win, then the questions are going to come. And I think it's right that we ask them. Mr. Who said, Klopp is tactically poor. He never has a plan B. So, I don't know if I agree with Klopp is tactically poor. But what I do agree with is I think he puts too much trust in players when they're letting them down. So yesterday, as an example, half-time, we should have made 2 changes. We should have brought on Harvey Elliott, and I would have put Joe Gomez at right back, right down, and moved Trent into midfield. And what we seen was Jurgen only making a substitution after Gravenberch got injured. And that's just not right for me. Because it was clear we weren't firing yesterday. And remember, United played midweek. So did we, but we rested 4 of our main players. Didn't even send them over to Belgium. Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent, Salah. All rested. For what? What's the point in resting them if that is what we get from it? And are we not allowed to say that was shit? Are we living in this alternative reality now where we can't say what we see? I can't remember the last time we really played well. Keep up the good work, Craig. You and your opinions are real. Thank you. That means a lot, Danny, because I won't lie, mate. It's been a really tough 24 hours. Because I get it. People need a scapegoat. And I'm no different to anybody else in that regard. But fuck me, some of the stuff I've seen written about me over the past 24 hours has hit a nerve. Like it's my fault that they played shit. Like, what am I supposed to say? Darwin was brilliant. Salah was awesome. Klopp's decision making was spot on. No, it wasn't. It was shit. They were shit. The performance was terrible. And we should have no excuses for that. All week, we built the game up. And all week, we said the same thing. All of us, in different variations. We said, we can't be complacent. We've got to go into this game and make United bend to our will. Hit them at 100 miles an hour. Get that first goal. Their heads will drop. And we'll put them to the sword. We didn't do that. And that is disappointing. Because United are terrible. Really, really terrible. Remember when everyone was City fans last season? Yeah, I find it funny that the stuff around Manchester City has become more of a big issue since Arsenal have entered the title race. Now all of a sudden, the same ones that were being cheered on by everybody else when we were going head to head with them. All of a sudden, when Arsenal and a couple of other clubs were in a title race, this is like, what's happening with City? Yeah, and fair enough, like, but you can't just be singularly focused all the time on how things affect and impact you. Finn from Peterborough, how are we, mate? Good result for you boys at the weekend again. Up into the, I think, if onto the automatic qualifying positions into the championship, if my memory's right. Craig, I don't get it. Craig, sorry, I'm trying to read this comment out. I get it, Craig. Don't let them get to you. You have your opinions, mate. So we all had a shit day yesterday, right? I'm just going to give you a little insight into my day. So yesterday we had a terrible day, as in us as fans, and the result was shit. And we were all angry, and we all had our own things to say. Some of you were home with your friends and family, some of you in the pub, some of you at the game. But everything I say is on the internet, and when people calm down 2, 3, 4 hours later, the angry version of the reactive Craig is still on the internet. So not only did we have the shit result in the shit game yesterday, not only was I feeling down in the dumps about that, then I had to see hundreds of subscribers wiped off our channel because I dared speak out against it. Now look, I get it. Sometimes I could do things in a better way. I could word things in a better way. But yeah, my day yesterday was pretty tough as well. The shit game, shit result for the channel, as in we'd no moments, we'd no clips, we'd no fun on the stream that we planned for all week with me and Adam, and the game just didn't deliver. And then I just get an avalanche of hate and see your subscriber numbers just tick down. That's fucking demoralising, lads, I tell you. So, yeah, well, it wasn't a great 24 hours for me either, but I can only be me. Like, if I could come on here and be fake and pretend not to care about these things, but it wouldn't be me. Craig, your reactions were honestly nothing compared to me at home, just as much as you, only yours were on camera. And I like to think a lot of people are the same, mate. But I do understand it. I do understand that people would look at it and go, fucking hell. But remember, it was in the moment. It's not like I'm recording this video now and I'm still angry and I'm still swearing and I'm still calling out people. It's just in the moment. It's just one of them things. Can I tell you my view on Darwin? Please do, Rain. You know, the floor is yours. Do you still think we'll win the league? Yeah. Look, I never said I think we will win the league. I said I think we can win the league. And I still think we can win the league. But we've got to get our house in order. And we've got to start playing better football. I don't understand why Klopp showed so much respect to Manchester United yesterday with his team selection. Excuse me. And even, let's say, half-time, we didn't need a defensive midfielder in that game. United were offering nothing. They sat with two defensive-minded players, in Kobe Mainoo and Sofiane Amrabat, and looked to make it frustrating for us. I don't get why we didn't go balls out. I don't get why we didn't start the game with Gakpo in an advanced midfield position and Trent in the number 6, Joe Gomez at right. I don't get it. I don't get why we didn't go to blow them away in half an hour, put the game to bed, and then just let's celebrate for the other 60 minutes and watch United's hearts break. I don't get that. It's like we showed sympathy or too much respect to a wounded animal that needed to be put out of its misery. And we didn't put it out of its misery. Alisson is the best keeper in the world. Absolutely he is. And thankfully we had Alisson Becker yesterday to stand up in that big moment in the game where Højlund went through. Like, it feels weird talking about that game yesterday and saying that they had the best chance of the game. That's weird. And it's kind of true. Like, I think the closest we really came was Trent. Another half yard. And it would have been a wonderful goal from Trent, by the way. Edge of the box. Another half yard the other side of the post. He was unlucky. That was really close. But other than that, we had a header from Van Dijk, which was straight down Onana's throat. And I think we had a shot from Mohamed Salah that it was a fairly comfortable save for Onana. I don't remember anything really troubling him. Samu said everything about Darwizzi was weird, stupid yellow card, whining at the linesman for calling offside, unnecessary diving. Yeah, it was strange. And also, I wonder what's going on with Szoboszlai. And I'm not going to go in on Szoboszlai because it feels like just there's something... I don't know what's going on in his personal life. I don't know the man. But he just looks to me like he's a bit dispirited at the minute. Like he's not enjoying himself. You know, when Dominic Szoboszlai is confident and smiling and happy, he's a joy to watch as a fella and as a footballer. But yesterday it was that dive in the penalty area in particular just wasn't a good look, and he looks mentally drained. So I would pull him out of the firing line for a couple of games and put Elliott in on the right hand side of midfield just to let him catch a breath as much as anything else. Would you like to keep Núñez? Oh, that's a really good question, Jonas. Would I like to keep Núñez? So I'm battling internally with two things. One, I can see a world where we sell Núñez, let's say, to a club in La Liga, and he goes and tears it up. I can see a world where that happens. And then we'd look a bit foolish. But I can also see a world where he carries on in this hit and miss mentality and this inconsistency, and we get frustrated about it. So I think one or two things needs to happen. We need to change how we set up to play to his strengths more, or we need to just draw a line under it and use him sparingly until we can find a deal that works for everybody. But as things currently stand in the system we play, it doesn't look like it's going to be able to get the Darwin Núñez that we know is buried deep inside there somewhere. The one that can come on and do what he did against Newcastle. That mercurial talent. Consistency is key. Consistency is why Mohamed Salah is the Mohamed Salah that has gotten the contract he has. That has become the hero to many that he has. That's consistency. And that's what you need, especially at a club like Liverpool. And if Darwin isn't doing 25, 30 goals a season regularly as a number 9, he ain't a Bobby Firmino either. You know, you can forgive Bobby dropping off the goal scoring at times because you could see all the other good work. You could see the link-up play. You could see the selfish nature, helping Salah and Mane at the time to flourish as players. You're not even getting that with Darwin, so be one of those situations if an offer came in and he was interested, you'd have to look at it. What about Darwin playing on the left wing? I mean, he does love to drift in from the left side, but I'm getting a bit of a pain in my hoop with people drifting in from wide areas for Liverpool. I'm getting a pain in my arse seeing Diaz and Salah do it all the time because it's not effective. Yesterday, I would have loved to have seen them swapped for 15 minutes. Put Salah onto the left, put Diaz onto the right, and let's see if United still gave us the wide areas. Let's see if they still let us get to the byline. But we didn't. And it's just, the more it happens, it became more frustrating. And then we just got desperate. Don broke up with his girlfriend. Maybe that's the reason why he's dipped in form. Yeah, look, he's human. Like the rest of us. These things happen. But what I would say is, if Klopp knows that he's broke up with his missus and that perhaps he's feeling a bit blue at the minute, take him out of the firing line. That's what I'm saying. Put Elliott in there. Give him an opportunity. Give Dominic a minute to catch a beat, catch a breath. Because he's human. Absolutely. I totally understand that sometimes factors outside of football can influence players. But that's where we need to take them out of the firing line and give somebody else the chance. Do you think Klopp can handle the big ego players? I don't know how to answer that question because what's a big ego? You know? Are we saying Salah has a big ego? Well, you don't get to where you are in any industry or sport without having that belief and that relentlessness and that mindset that I'm the best, I'm the one, give it to me, I'll make it happen. So you don't get to be that good without having that built in. So I think Klopp's a bit soft. I do think he's a bit soft. I'm all for an arm around the shoulder, and I'm all for trusting people. But I feel like there's been enough situations over the years Klopp's been here where those players certain players haven't shown that trust back, and they haven't honoured the trust given to them by the manager. So sometimes I wish he does make the difficult decisions, yes. And when I said sell Mohamed Salah yesterday, I get people being angry at me, but that's what I think is going to happen. Yeah, I said it in a way that was like, sell him because of that performance. Sell him. I get it. But I also want to ask, what do you think is going to happen in the summer? The odds are he's going to be sold. Unless something dramatic happens between now and then. And I think people sticking their fingers in their ears and going, la, 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 la. It's not going to make that situation go away. We're still going to have this difficult story to deal with in the summer. So I get it, be angry at me all you want, but how are you going to feel in the summer when you wake up one day and see Saudi have bid £120 million for Mohamed Salah and Liverpool are forced to make a decision? It's going to happen. I see people saying you think he'll say. He can only say if an offer is put forth to him. And we've had all season so far, and there's not even an inkling of a conversation between Liverpool and Mohamed Salah. So I fully expect whatever happens in January, we're not selling him. I fully believe he'll be here at the end of the January market. But in the summer, if you're FSG or you're Jurgen Klopp and you're seeing that it's rather unlikely that he's going to stay, you can't let him run down his contract and go for free a year down the line. That is just the height of stupidity. You've got to take the money and reinvest. You have to. So unless we hear that there's a negotiation happening between Rami Abbas, Mohamed Salah and Liverpool Football Club, I think the only logical thing to add up all the bits and pieces and come to the conclusion that he's going to be sold in the summer. That's genuinely what I see happening. We need to put our hat in the Mbappe ring, zero risk, said Jack. So, again, if we're to do that, we'd have to admit publicly that we're going to lose Salah. Because I can't see us doing both. So it's almost like I feel like there's this mad game of brinksmanship going on at the minute between John W. Henry, Salah, and the fans, where nobody wants to blink first. Nobody wants to make this situation evolve. Everyone's kind of just not talking about the elephant in the room. And it becomes tiring, constantly worrying about losing somebody. And how many seasons have we had distractions about Mohamed Salah? I can think of 3, maybe 2-3 years. And it's coming up again, so we're going to have to deal with this again. And we've never once conclusively drawn a line under it and sorted it. It's always been just kicking the can down the road a little bit. So, I get it. People want him to stay. I think that's understandable. But I think the real world's going to come and knocking in the summer. And the real world is going to be a situation where he goes. Cam said, Craig, what do you think about Salah more central to be a connector of play? I've always had no issues with putting Salah through the middle. In front of goal, one-on-one with a keeper, I'd back Mo to score most of the time. And getting Mohamed Salah into those positions seems to be the most difficult thing for us these days. I still feel when he's put through one-on-one with keepers like that, he's going to score more often than not. But when we're forcing him to cut inside onto his left foot and try to be very particular and it has to all go right from the scoring them positions where he cuts in, he has to fool the defender once or twice, then he's got to pick out the corner. Yeah, I have no issues with Mo through the centre. And I've said many times, players reinvent themselves as they get older, so I'd have no issues with it at all. What do you think the problem is at Liverpool in this current moment? God. I don't think it's arrogance. I don't think it's a lack of a good mentality in the dressing room. I feel like it has to come from the top. I feel like we're not getting sent a message from the owners that we're serious. We want to win at all costs. Everything. And if you don't get that message delivered down from the top, what do you want me to say? Yeah, it starts from the top, and I don't feel like we've ever had that ruthless nature to go and win. I feel like it's happened. Klopp's built a great team, but now we're in a situation where we probably didn't think we'd be near a title race this season, but we are. And are we doing all we can to win it? I don't feel we are. And by what we're seeing in the papers, I don't feel like we're close to laying down a marker in the window. Like, we've gone from a world where we had Caicedo for 115 million. It fell through and we ended up with Endo for 16 and a half. That's real. That happened. Are we trying to have this situation where we're saying he's even fucking comparable to Caicedo? Because he isn't. So, again, we're like, we could have had this, but when this didn't happen, did we go for an equally shiny toy? No. We went to Aldi and Lidl, to the middle aisles, and looked for something as a sticking plaster. And I don't see how anybody can think differently. You know? I don't. What are my thoughts on Lucho? I'm far from giving up on Lucho, but I would like to see a bit more end product. And I'd like to see him attack the byline a bit more. I've said it before, I'm very frustrated at our inverted wingers refusing to go around the outside. Even in situations for Lucho, where he had Costas overlapping, he just ran into the condensed area of the pitch. And when you're playing a team that is giving you the wide areas, you've got to try your best to exploit that. So I have a lot more patience for Lucho than I have for Darwin at the minute. Don't diss Lidl. I didn't. Did I say there was anything wrong with the stuff in the middle aisle? But the stuff in the middle aisle in Lidl isn't Makita, if you're looking for a drill. It isn't Adidas or Nike, if you're looking for a pair of tracksuit bottoms, you know? It is what it is. It's fine. It does a job. But it's not going to impress anyone. If Brentford offered a suede swap between Darwin, Ivan, Tony, would you take it? Well, there's no world I think Darwin goes, oh yeah, Brentford. Yeah. Never mind the Champions League with Benfica and Liverpool. I want to go play in London with Brentford. No, this is not a situation that's ever going to happen. SW said, Jesus Christ, this channel is unreal. It was a shocking performance, but we're 1 point off flop and play them next weekend. And what? What's unreal, mate? Like, we're 1 point off top, and should we not want better? You going to tell me you're happy with that result yesterday? If we lose the league by 2 points at the end of the season, are you going to go, wow, well, that's alright then? No. So I'm not going to be one of those fake happy people. We were shit. And yeah, we might be 1 point off the top, but we should be fucking top. Do you not grasp that? I shouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you guys about us being second. We should be top of the league. So, I know when I played sport, I wanted to win. I'm sure you're the same in your own industry or whatever your job is. So, why the fuck should we go, well, we're 1 point off the top? So what? Doesn't change the fact that we were shit. And if I can't come on and say that we were shit, what's the point? I can't come on every day and go, everything's great, the world's marvellous, rainbows, lollipops and skittles. That's not facts. It's not the real world, mate. We were shit. And I'm going to say it because we were shit. So, yeah, Jesus Christ, what? If you don't like it, go and watch Redmen TV or somebody else who makes Liverpool content and have at it. But I say it as I see it. Whether I'm right or wrong, it is my honest opinion. If Salah does go, not saying he will, but who in your mind replaces him? Look, you know my thoughts on this one, mate. I've always said I like Jared Bowen as a fit in that role. Now I've got to give you guys your credit. I have taken some time and I've watched a bit more of Xavi Simons. I have watched a bit more of him actually, and I know he's only on loan from PSG to Leipzig, but I see it. I see what you guys see in him. Now look, it's still early days for me watching him and keeping an eye on him, but there's a lot to admire. There's a lot to like about the way he plays the game. So I can see why a couple of people have suggested him. But yeah, I like Bowen because I think it's a seamless transition into our squad if we were to get him. Can you wish my friend a burger, or is it a booger? Happy birthday to Ivan's friend. I hope you have a wonderful day, my man. Keep being you. That's why the majority of us are still here. You're saying what we're all feeling. I know. And look, I also, Jason, I fully appreciate that everyone doesn't see the world the same way I do. But sometimes I wish I had that same understanding from certain groups of people. That, okay, you might not agree with me, but you can't say everything that I'm saying doesn't have some semblance of truth to it. Look at Johan Bakayoko. Again, I'm starting to try and find some time to look at him. The Eredivisie isn't as easy to access as some of the other leagues. So, yeah, Bakayoko is somebody who's been linked with us for a while now. But to be fair, when I have read about Bakayoko, those that I've read reports from in the Netherlands don't think he's ready yet for a move to the Premier League. So, you got to take those things into account as well. L point of view. Okay, fair enough. I don't know what you're talking about, but L point of view. That's the response, is it? So not coming back at me with a counter argument. It's L point of view. That's what I'm up against. I can spend 15 minutes telling you how I feel and asking you for a response, and I get L point of view. I don't know what to say to that, mate, other than I've made your decision easy for you, and I hope you enjoy whatever content you watch in the future. We should get Darwin on the left, Dom on the right, and Mo up front. You could do that. I mean, we may see Szoboszlai on the right during the AFCON. But I think for now, Dom needs a rest. Whether it's mental or physical, he looks fatigued. Anfield atmosphere is shocking at the moment. So, can I ask you guys what you think is causing the poor atmosphere at Anfield? Because I can only give you my take on it, and my take on it is that I don't know, but I'm sick of seeing overseas or non-local fans blamed on everything. I just find that an easy get out of jail card for people who don't want to look inward. It's part of the problem, but it isn't all of the problem. So, what do you guys think is causing the poor atmosphere? Because, you know, you've got to say sometimes you can only feed off what's there in front of you on the pitch. Marcel said, Craig, you're well within your right to complain as you did yesterday. By the way, do you think this draw could be a blessing in disguise? I'll take a draw against United if it means we beat Arsenal. Um, yeah, yes, we could use it to fuel ourselves, and I hope we do, Marcel. I hope that those players remember that frustration coming off the pitch yesterday, and say, I don't want this again. I think it's imperative we go quick against these type of teams that are going to come and sit back. If you don't score in the first half, you can feel the whole atmosphere change. People start to think, is it going to be another one of these days? So I need to think of the players. We need to take that out of the crowd's hands in these scenarios. They just need to fucking force that ball through and over the line somehow. Because usually in these games, once that first goal comes, and there have been occasions where we've managed to do it, opening 20, 25 minutes, get the breakthrough, it becomes a far easier task to navigate them, because the opposition can't sit back forever. At some stage, they have to open up a bit and have a go, and that's where you rely on your quality, your pace, the passing of Trent van Dijk, the relentless finishing ability of Salah. But you need to get to those situations. And United yesterday, they just grew in confidence as the game went on, because we basically just looked devoid of ideas to break them down. Jack, thank you for your super chat. You didn't put a comment in, mate, but thank you. Thoughts on Xavi Alonso being the successor to Klopp? I think the thing that will put the kibosh on that one is, I think he'll be snapped up beforehand. Fully expect him to see the season out with Leverkusen, and who knows, maybe he goes a bit longer. But when you've got Bayern's job maybe coming about, if Tuchel doesn't get the finger out, Ancelotti's probably going to be leaving Real. So if he's still around by the time Klopp decides, he's done with this chapter of his career, then by all means, absolutely, Xavi Alonso should be a very, very, very good consideration for a number of reasons. I just read that Maka is out until the new year. I didn't see that today now, mate, myself. I said, seeing that it's going to be a race for Saturday and that he's most likely out of Wednesday, but I've not seen anything just yet to say he's out till the new year. Thoughts on missing Maka due to the bad performance? I thought yesterday was a huge indicator of what Maka does. I thought yesterday, that game, if you have Alexis McAllister in that midfield position, I think we managed that game a lot easier yesterday. Now, to be fair to Endo, I don't think Endo did too much wrong yesterday. But McAllister's just a different type of player. And sometimes you don't appreciate these things until he's not there. And we haven't played well since he's been out. So yeah, I'm seeing that Dave O'Cop thing where he said exclusive Alexis McAllister set to lose his race for key Premier League clash with return time revealed. The Argentine is set to be out until the new year. Well, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. I don't know what else to say. I don't know where, I don't believe Dave would post it unless he's got some type of source on it, so if anything, it just makes it more frustrating, because now everyone who's pretty much available outside of Endo in the six is not going to be there for the pivotal part of the season. And this is why I keep saying, what's the fucking point? What's the point in nickel and diamond with an Endo when in a situation where we need somebody, he's not good enough? And this only adds to my argument that we shouldn't be looking for filler. We should be looking for the best signings we can get. So all my mind's thinking now is, I hope to God he doesn't play Endo against Arsenal. I hope he has the balls to put Trent in that position, because we're out without Gravenberch. Oh, fuck me. Tough one. It's a tough one to take. It feels like every time we're told it's a small injury, things seem to be a little bit longer than we first expect. I thought Endo played well going forward. Again, to give Endo his credit, Kelsey, he did not have a bad game yesterday. He was probably one of the better players on the pitch. But my argument was I don't think we needed to have a defensive-minded player there at all. I think we could have put Trent up there far sooner in the game and wrestled control a bit more and maybe tried to find a breakthrough a bit earlier. But definitely did not have a poor game yesterday. How long is Gravenberch out for? Truth is, mate, we don't know yet. I haven't seen the results or a posting about the results of the scan that we're waiting for. That could be a big loss for us, depending on how long he's out for, because Ryan Gravenberch's been pretty consistent since he's come in. Thoughts on Kai Havertz's Arsenal career? It's a weird one. It's a weird one because I feel like he scores a lot of important goals for them, but I also feel like I don't know where his best position is, and I don't even know how to describe Havertz. Like, if you said to me, Craig, Kai Havertz is ... I don't know. Is he a winger? Is he a number 10? Is he a second striker? I don't know. But he has popped up with some important goals. But Arsenal have always had a player like that in their team. Whether it's him, whether it was Xhaka, who divided opinion a lot of the time, or whether it was Mesut Ozil. They've always kind of had that one type player. I guess we can all agree Gakpo starts against Arsenal. Unless Jota is fit. I mean, if Jota is fit, I'm playing Jota through the middle against Arsenal. I'd play Gakpo in behind. But if Jota was fit, I'd be putting him through the centre. He loves a goal against Arsenal. Some would say that's a good thing, being so versatile, but not Craig. In which? Again, what are you having a go at me for this time? I was asked on Kai Havertz's time at Arsenal. I gave an opinion. Never once saying the versatility isn't a good thing. But yet you had a pop at me. In some way insinuating that I'm trying to say versatility is a bad thing. Go fuck yourself. Idiots. Another example of something I didn't say being used in a negative way to have a crack at me. I don't get it. Didn't say that one bit. All I said is, if you were to ask me, I don't know what his best position is. Do you think our talent scouts are lazy? Not at all. Not at all. I've no issues with Liverpool looking to bring in young, talented players. But sometimes you need the here and now players as well. So, no problem if we bring in the likes of Naomi, or other talented youngsters that are 16, 17. But we also need a player in defensive midfield who's ready right now, this second, to come in and make a difference. And telling us Bajcetic is the future is great, but he's not available, so it's not helping us at this moment in time. And the league's happening right now. So I'm all for giving Bajcetic the future because he looked brilliant. But that doesn't mean we have to cry poverty now when we're slipping away in the title race. Prediction for the Arsenal game. Don't know yet, because I need an update from Klopp around injuries before I feel like if we play like we did yesterday, we get beaten. But I don't expect us to play like we did yesterday. I think Liverpool will be more mentally prepared for Arsenal, because maybe they thought United was going to be an easy touch. I don't know, but they won't be thinking that about Arsenal. They'll know what Arteta and his side are going to come and do. They'll know how well organised they are, and they'll know they're in for a battle. So if we win that game, Sunday's forgotten about very quickly. But if we don't win that game, Sunday looks even worse. So yeah, it's pressure time again. Do I see us winning the Carabao Cup? I mean, I see us being... Yeah, I'd see us being the favourites. Chelsea, Newcastle, good game. Covering that on top of the league tomorrow, by the way. 7:30 if you want to come and join me for that one. Look, I expect us to win at this point, yeah. We're in the quarterfinals, you have a home draw. Yeah, I think we should be thinking about winning I want to win it. I want to win every trophy that we have a chance to win, because you only get to win 4 a year, and sometimes you ride off the League Cup early, but when you get to these latter stages, absolutely I want to win it. Jack said, your opinion is correct, but how you came across annoyed people. They think the result is need to give players a kick in their performance. I get that, Jack. I completely understand how people can look at my anger and see it as over the top. I completely understand that, mate. I do. But I'm not like that all the time. You know, you see me tonight, you see me earlier on. Most of the time, I'm a pretty relaxed fella. But football means a lot to me. Liverpool mean a lot to me. And when stuff is emotional and causes me to have emotion, it's up or down. It's hot or cold. I can't be any different. That's me. That's who I am. But I do appreciate where you're coming from. I just wish... No, do you know what? I'm going to leave it at that, mate. I think it's a fair critique. Will your preview be out tonight or tomorrow? Tomorrow. I recorded it earlier on. Connor's going to put it out tomorrow. I think at about 4 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. So, just the people talking about passion and anger in the chat. In my life, whether it be my wife, my parents, my kids, my best mates, there's only certain things that can cause me to be angry. And if I don't give a shit about something, it doesn't cause me any anger whatsoever. But when I care about something, in this case, Liverpool Football Club, that can cause me to be a nasty person at times, because it provokes real fucking emotion in me. And they often say that, you are nastiest at times or harshest to those that you love the most. And I think, unfortunately for me, in this scenario, that tends to be true. Give me a West Ham prediction. Okay, I'll be nice and give you the score prediction. I went 2-1. 2-1 win. I find it very hard to gauge what West Ham side is going to show up, because they're still in Europe themselves, not doing so great in the Prem, but Bowen's in good form. And I think Moyes will probably go strong with his 11. So I think we'll need to be as strong with our selection. So yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult night, but I think we'll just about get over the line. So 2-1, but it may even be a penalty shootout. I wouldn't overthink it, Craig. We have a snowflake world around us. Yeah, I get it, Kelsey, but I'm a sensitive person. I am. And when somebody says something about you that you're aware of yourself, or I'm very conscious about my weight, like very, very conscious. And so when people say you're fat, whatever, that's the thing that gets to you, because they're right. You can control that, and you should be better in that. And people who were criticising me yesterday, there's an element of truth to what they say. I get it. But there's also an element of truth in what I've said as well, I think. But perhaps I could have said it better. And for that, I need to try and improve myself, definitely. But I'm always trying. I'm always trying to be a more well-rounded human being, but I won't always get it right. But I appreciate you understand and give me the opportunity to explain myself when perhaps I'm a little bit tetchy. Looking back on it, that Soboslai Lonely article makes more sense. Yeah, Herman, I was kind of thinking the same, buddy. I feel really bad for Dom, because loneliness can be, if that is what he's feeling, it's a really debilitating thing. And I hope the lads are rallying around him. I'm sure the dressing room seems like a good group of fellas. I hope they are, because if he's broke up with his missus and he's feeling a bit isolated, that's difficult, especially at this time of the year. We're getting to the time of the year where we talk about spending time with our families and, you know, all the good things about Christmas. But if you're not in that lucky position, or perhaps, you know, you're on your own at Christmas, it can be a really tough time as well. So I hope Dom is okay in that sense, because he's a really likable fella. You've lost a lot of weight recently. Thank you. My wife said the same to me, but I don't know, is the honest answer, mate. I'm trying to get there. Right, look, I'm going to say goodnight. I got to go grab a shower and do a few other bits and pieces. But thank you for coming in tonight. And I'm glad I got a lot of stuff off my chest. So I appreciate you all. You're like my best therapy, to be honest with you. I will see you tomorrow. I won't be live on Anfield Agenda until... I'll be live at about 6:30. But I will also... Will I be live at 6:30? No, I won't. I won't be live on Anfield Agenda tomorrow, actually. Sorry, I won't at all, because I've got my psychologist appointment. But I will be live on Top of the League at 7:30 if you want to come and join me for a watch along of the other quarter-final that's been played tomorrow, the Newcastle-Chelsea game. And then we'll have videos coming out tomorrow as well. Preview of the West Ham game, transfer news video, and a couple of other bits and pieces. So thank you as always. Do drop a like on the stream, and please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. Take care. Talk to you soon.